Hello everybody, I'm Storm here. Welcome back to Hearts of Iron 4 Old World Blues. In the last episode, we were working on building up our military and trying to just improve things through our focuses and waiting for an opportunity to arrive. And that arrived when Caesar's Legion's truce expired and they went immediately back to war with the NCR. And so we then initiated our plan to have a chunk of their territory rebel, and that brought us into war with the NCR, and so we are now pouring across their northern borders, and so far we are making a lot of headway. So we're going to keep on pushing here, and hopefully we will put an end to it. So let's see how it goes. Let's take a look at the air. Let's unpause it for a second. Okay, we need some air assets down here. These air assets can actually, let's see, 300 planes? They can move over there. We have this airfield here, so let's put out some attackers and some fighters. Put them over there. Advanced servos. Let's get overcharged ammunition. Alright, we have air superiority there over northern Mojave. Grenade launcher. Propulsion charge. Switch that up. The South Mojave. We do need some planes down there. Do they have the range? It would seem so. Basic infantry equipment. Let's get ballistic fibers. Alright, actually up here, I'm going to
This is Enclave Maincom.
reorganize.
Enclave here.
We need to get a new army group started. So let's do that.
Enclave here.
I want you guys just to continue driving south. Alright, new American Titans. Keep working on this. Power armor integration. After this, we're going to have to start thinking about our Navy. You know. Thermal vision devices. Start working on our supports. Oh, this is a bit of an issue, isn't it?
Outstanding. Damn.
managed to catch you out. America's first tank ace in 200 years. Our war against the NCR is proving to go our way. The one seemingly invincible NCR army has put up one hell of a fight. Looked like we might actually lose. Not really. Let's see. Our army was powerful but small, at least compared to the NCR army, and NCR that knew how to use their numbers effectively to combat technologically superior foes. We weren't just facing light infantry, armed with rifles, machine guns, and the occasional bazooka. The NCR Air Force was on equal footing with our best pilots, and the NCR army has mechanized heavily since the fall of Navarro. Only our power armored units stood a chance against the NCR Grizzly tanks. With the air contested, those armored bears tore into our ranks. Our tanks at best were outgunned and out-armored. Worst rely on speed to win the day. However, all that has changed, and the army of the bear is on the run, and we are now on equal footing. One of those equal footings is out of Central California. Having captured and repainted an NCR Grizzly Mark I tank and named it Aunt Billy, Captain Angela Sherman has gone on to become our first tank ace in over 200 years. She's led daring raids into the NCR lines with our nascent armored force and struck and rolled over dozens of NCR units in their push south. The NCR Rangers even put a hit out on her, and she's reported to have engaged 2 NCR Ranger platoons who shot out her tracks. Machinery crew held off with their machine guns and personal weapons with reinforcements, or until reinforcements could arrive. She's become something of a hero across the front line, an icon for the Armored Cavalry Corps, who are desperately trying to get back on their feet. Command has given her a field promotion, and she is eager to take command and continue to fight against the NCR, from the NCR to the Legion and beyond. All right. Becomes a unit leader. Excellent. All right, looks like everybody's rearranging, and we are stabilizing that front line. Okay, so things are going well. We have taken the boneyard.
Enclave here.
Let's not leave this on our flank.
Enclave here.
Get rid of that.
Enclave here.
Alright. Heavy robots. Get them out to the front. Keep working on that.
Enclave here.
Knock out those tanks. All right, and the NCR has capitulated. Excellent. And I think we are just going to go ahead and annex everything, because there really isn't any point to making puppets. All right, so there's a good pile of resources right there. I do want Shady Sands, so you know what? Let's take that first. Let's get Navarro and San Francisco. Let's get all of this. Alright, that's all I can demand at the moment. That's fine. Submit our demands. Alright, and let's just keep going. Looks like the Legion took a bunch of that. That's okay. That's okay for now. Guess we'll just take all of Baja. Demand everything. Alright, contested demands. We are going to demand those. And we're going to keep demanding those. And it's done. Anyway, there's still something that is left to be taken. Apparently, yes. And they're all contesting everything. And we're not going to let them have it. Beautiful. And the Legion didn't get anything. Excellent. I don't think they're going to be happy about that. I really don't think they're going to be happy about that. The Baron incident bypassed. Okay. Let's go ahead and integrate the slags.
Enclave here.
Go ahead and throw those forces in there. We'll figure out what to do about them later. Actually, what we're going to do is this is going to be our new northern army. Because we now need to...
This is Enclave main com.
worry about the Washington Brotherhood, I think.
This is Enclave main com.
And the borders with the Legion are... an issue.
Enclave here. This is Enclave main com. Enclave here.
We got a whole bunch of stuff to deal with here.
Enclave here. Enclave here.
Alright, we'll get that all sorted out later. Be careful what you wish for. The destruction of the new California Republic has left our army overextended. With raiders and super mutants attacking outlying towns, the people of the NCR are bitterly divided between those who hope for a better future, those who fear the power armor marching through their towns. NCR loyalists have taken to the hills, sniping at our men and supply convoys. Factories and caravan routes lay idle as merchants fear whether their dollars are worth the paper they're printed on, and California's leadership awaits their fate, wondering if they can work with the reunited states or if they will end their days at a camp in the Mojave. The Enclave has won, but time will tell if, in destroying the NCR, America has lost. Alright, well, we got a lot to deal with then. Well, we've liberated Navarro from America's enemies. The Army Corps of Engineers is going through old records and has come across something interesting. They managed to find launch codes for missile silos. Although most of those codes were lost during the war, or after due to Vault-Tec subversion, if we ever find missiles that weren't used, it could come in handy. Right through silos in southern Nevada. The silos. The signals were tracked to missile silos that survived the Great War. With bombs ready to go off, our engineers safely deactivated the nukes, but we need to decide what to do with them. Some scientists have suggested mothballing the nukes and using the plutonium for peaceful means, but nuclear missiles could give us a powerful tool to finish liberating the reunited states. However, we'll have to find the launch codes for the nukes, with records on the base suggest they were stored at a military base in Northern California. Dismantle the nuclear weapons. No, we'll hold on to the launch codes. Helios 1. Good morning from Enclave Radio, bringing you news from Helios 1. As the sun rises over the pre-war solar plant, reflecting off the solar panels, one can see how much progress the president has brought. Gone are the Brotherhood Knights, stripping it for parts, or the NCR's engineers stumbling in the dark. Enclave scientists work proudly to restore power to the wastes, and the sun rises over a new day for America. Alright, we've added some production. We're picking up a signal. Unlike a unit station out near the Mojave Wasteland, are reporting that they are picking up radio signals coming from northern Mojave, past Dallas Air Force Base, and they're of Enclave origin. Checking our records, we have no unit station in that region. It might be other remnants. Given all that's been going on, this could be the break we need. Mojave Enclave? We found something. Our patrols in the Boneyard are reporting back that they've found a fortified entrance for Vault 33 by what was once the Santa Monica Pier. At first, we didn't believe them, but the local command dispatched a small team to investigate. And yes, there's a massive fortified vault door right on the beach next to the Santa Monica Pier with a big number 33 on the front. Checking our records, 33 along with 32 and 31 were apparently scrubbed from our records on an order of a senior junior vice president of Vault Tech. The fact that there's even a vault on the beach next to the Pacific Ocean and what was once the home territory of the Master is baffling. Maybe he was saving it as a strategic reserve, or he was just ignorant of a massive vault door right in his backyard. Of course, the bigger question is, how do we get this? Helios Vault 33 is a reference to the TV show. Upon securing Helios 1, a cadre of Enclave scientists descended upon the site, hoping to reactivate the ancient orbital weapon aboard Archimedes' energy weapon platform. Disabling the security systems, much of the infrastructure for the weapon remained intact. However, the software and terminals meant to run the system were outright destroyed. By whom? The nitwit of a technician named Fantastic. This moron has been nothing but a headache for the soldiers. Many initially believed he was a saboteur because we didn't think anyone would be this stupid in the Mojave Wasteland. Turns out no, he's just an idiot. The amount of damage he's done to the uplink could take decades to fix, mostly because we must rewrite the code for the system to correctly uplink with a giant space laser. Wait, there's a giant space laser? Boneyard remnants. After the fall of Navarro, many survivors tried their luck at integrating into the NCR. While a large number were found out and arrested, many more were successfully began their new lives in the Boneyard. These people and their descendants have now petitioned to rejoin the Enclave. Welcome back. We could use the manpower, certainly. The jewel in our crown. Under our governance, the Enclave has prospered. We've built towns, roads, communities, and dreams. One of the advisors noticed today that while walking through Vault City, become a beacon in the wasteland, but still, it isn't perfect. Though flawed, the imperfections give character to this jewel on our nation's crown. Okay. I think we've got a lot of work to do. Who are you? Lost Hills, the Western Brotherhood. Opening the door to 33. A vault was a Pandora's box, and any number of horrors could wait inside. Anything could be down there. A horrible experiment gone awry, mutated monsters beyond imagination, or because it's next to the ocean, the thing is filled with mirelurks? Regardless, the army was not taking any chances. A whole company of power armored troops with vertebrate support took up positions outside the vault, all weapons trained on the door as technicians worked with the override code for the door. What was curious was there was no exposed console to open the vault with. Only a small repeating signal asking for confirmation of an authorized Vault Tech administrator. Though for the Enclave that was no issue, and using override codes, the door opened with a shutter and rolled open. Weapons were primed and miniguns on the vertebrates were spooled up, and then nothing. A heavily armed team moved slowly forward, and when there came a movement from inside, 3 individuals in vault suits appeared, dazed, confused, and upon seeing the number of soldiers pointing weapons at them, terrified. We got a report back from Vault 33. It seems as if the vault was a control vault of sorts, though there seemed to be some benign experiment. Vault 33 is part of a network alongside Vault 31 and 32 that are interconnected by passageways that separate them internally. According to Overseer Hank McLean, this allowed them to contain threats, but also allowed them to come to each other's aid in times of need. What those threats are, we are not sure, and curiously, the vault seems to have no form of vault security. Even the most basic control vaults had some degree of security, and while the vault had an armory, there are no traces that vault security was ever stood up. Before we could ask further, Overseer McLean spoke about how the vault was still recovering from a plague, and he hoped that perhaps we could provide food and medical services to help the still traumatized vault dwellers, and a request has been sent up through the appropriate channels. Curiously, when asked about the other vaults, Overseer McLean became rather cagey, and our officer notes that McLean himself doubts our claim to be representatives of the United States government. He claims 31 and 32 are on lockdown after emergency signal was sent when we forced the door open, but wouldn't give details on how to lift it. Eventually, we managed to get the tunnel that led to Vault 32 from the Overseer's daughter, Lucy, and our troops will report back when they've made contact. Arriving at Vault 32. When arriving at Vault 32, several of the soldiers noted strange sounds coming from beyond the vault door, but didn't think any of it. 200-year-old vaults are filled with odd sounds. The technicians worked at the console as the door came alive, lights flashed, and everything. The soldiers chatted idly as the door opened, and officers straightened out their uniforms. As the door opened, they were met with a full-blown riot. Weapons fire was being exchanged. There were bodies hanging over railings, and parts of the vault were on fire. The soldiers stared in shock as eventually someone finally noticed that the door had opened and that a group of soldiers were standing there staring back at them. For a brief moment, everything stood still as no one knew exactly what to do. We're from the government and we're here to help. Mr. President, our contact team has managed to stabilize Vault 32, though the reports there were a few casualties on the side of the Vault dwellers who tried to attack the contact team. No surprise, Vault suits do not protect against lasers and miniguns. After settling the population down, a simple search found several bodies lynched and the Vault's overseer, Overseer Jackson, dead and tied up in his office. The soldiers in the Vault have separated the dwellers of Vault 32 into their rooms and are keeping a watchful eye on them, as well as bringing in emergency medical aid for any who are wounded or near death. Graffiti on the walls and speaking to a few members rant about management and how they were just rats for Vault 31. Curiously, checking records, it seems Vault 32's overseer was a member of Vault 31, as was Overseer McLean. Not taking any chances, Rangers were called in, along with a platoon of enforcers in heavy armor. They had distinct orders to subdue anyone who tried to resist, and should they continue to resist, put down if needed. As Vault 31's doors opened, the Rangers clicked off the safety on their laser rifles as the enforcers raided their riot guns. When the door was wide enough for one of the Rangers to get through, they all filed in fast, the enforcers following as soon as the door was wide enough, expecting something similar to Vault 32 or worse. They weren't expecting was a single corridor, no atrium, nothing. The group continued down the corridor before rounding a few corners and discovering a massive chamber filled with cryo-suspension tubes. They all stared in confusion when they heard the small whirring of a robot and turned to see a strange robot with a brain in a jar rolling up. Who are you? Why are you in my vault? Asked the robot. The soldiers and rangers looked at each other before the lead ranger spoke up. Alright, the 3 vaults. From the testimony of Vault 32 survivors, the guarded nature of Overseer McLean, and this fiasco from Vault 31, it seems that something bigger is going on in these vaults rather than just an experiment in cooperation. You've awoken all those in Vault 31 and placed them in Vault 32 under the watch of military police, while the Vault 32 survivors are being sent to Vault 32. We've also sent members of Vault 33 to Vault 32 until we can figure out what the hell is going on. Curiously, she's a tiny robo-brain in Vault 31 is Bud Askins, the senior junior vice president who ordered the 3 vaults scrubbed from records. He's been quarantined in Vault 31 because he tried to lock our breaching team into the vault. He did not occur that little guy, maybe you shouldn't threaten the heavily armored military strike team. Question is, now what? Give me the Department of Justice. And the man comes around. While the army was still serving as primary means of security control in the vaults, several members of the vaults noticed several members that weren't rank and file. Hours later, it became clear they were U.S. Marshals heralding the arrival of Felix Grayson. The old lawman arrived in Vault 33 and began asking senior members born and raised in Vault 33 and 32 about their lives in the vaults before making his way for Vault 32. He had been briefed that every member of Vault 31 was from pre-war, kept in cryostasis, and by default were U.S. citizens as far as the law was concerned. He made way for the Vault 32 Overseer's office, pulling out some folded papers from his suit, and he spoke over the vault's loudspeakers. To the members of Vault 31, I'm Felix Grayson, Attorney General of the Enclave of the United States, your government. In my hands is a warrant to question every one of you, as well as search any and all records in all 3 vaults as part of my investigation. I will ask for your cooperation, and I assure that your rights, as outlined in the Constitution, will be protected. The quicker you comply, the quicker we can see this done, and you can lead relatively normal lives, either here in Vault 32 or on the surface. I'll ask Hank McLean to please come to the Vault 32 Overseer's office for questioning. As he finished, one of his marshals spoke up. Sir, don't you think they'll try and take advantage of their rights and stymie your efforts? Grayson chuckled. I read the reports. These are pre-war executive assistants. They're used to cushy lifestyles and being above the law. I squared off with raiders and Vault City types. Alright, the choices we make. Grayson clicked through the terminal on Vault 32's Overseer's desk, reading correspondence between the late Overseer Jackson, Vault 33, and Bud Askins in Vault 31. Even this casual scrolling was enlightening into what was rapidly understanding was a eugenics project cooked up by the junior vice president. However, he wanted to hear from one of the men himself, and hearing from some grunts, Grayson shuffled some papers on his desk. 2 marshals manhandled in McLean, who clearly didn't want to be brought to the Overseer's office. Grayson smiled as McLean was placed in the seat. The 33 Overseer, somewhat surprised to see the gray-suited lawman before him. All you had to do was comply. I didn't want to send the marshals to get you. What is this? The marshals? Who are you? Demanded McLean. I told you. Felix Grayson, Eternal General of the... No, you're not. There is no Enclave of the United States. The United States is dead. Enough with this charade. Who are you? Grayson chuckled. You know, I get that from raiders a lot. However, despite your beliefs, the United States does exist, and we have returned to reclaim our nation from the anarchy of the Great War. Now, I will ask for your cooperation, and as you are afforded certain rights under the Constitution, I am to inform you are not being formally charged at this time. I'm just trying to figure out what the hell's going on here? McLean was less than helpful, or rather he was hiding something. You seem incapable of believing that Grayson was the Eternal General, or that the Enclave or the United States government survived the Great War. However, as Grayson continued to interrogate him, it became clear that McLean wasn't the one in charge. Not a pawn, but he was taking orders. Mentioning the name Bud Askins clammed McLean up, and Grayson figured it was high time he talked to the real man in charge. Entering Vault 31, Grayson made his way to the executive suite where Askins was being held, immobilized on a trash can. Askins was continually talking to himself, with Grayson noticed wasn't too uncommon for robo-brains. Mr. Askins, Felix Grayson, Attorney General. I want a lawyer, responded Bud snarkily. Mr. Askins, you're not being charged. I have a few questions, and the sooner you answer them, the sooner you'll be released. I can see to it that you receive a new body for your troubles. One more mobile. There was some silence from Bud. Go on. Mr. Askins, what is the purpose of the 3 vaults? Our records were incomplete. Of course, if you are the government, you outsource the survival of this country to the private sector, to Vault Tech. Anyone alive then knew it was insane to keep a failed nation alive. So I kept Vault Tech alive instead. A well-trained staff of highly supervised junior executives from my own assistant training program. Because the future of humanity comes down to one word. Management. Grayson nodded. Management? So, spoke Grayson. The other 2 vaults were just peons, a drone forced to work for your whim? What? No. When you put it like that, it sounds downright morally questionable, Bud exclaimed aghast. There are breeding pool. HR R&D made manifest, genetically selected to breed with my buds to create a class of super managers. People with positivity, people who make lemonade, people who will monopolize the earth. Mr. Askins, did this grand plan take into account the pre-war government? Asked Grayson. The Enclave? Bud laughed. Again, with this Enclave, a fairy tale, small-minded patriotism. There was no Enclave. Never was, never will be. The idea the government was hiding out on some oil rig was made up to keep little flag wavers' spirits up. You know, I was born on that rig, raised on it. I didn't see dry land until I was already a man. The Enclave can't be real. Grayson smirked. I regret to inform you, your eugenics experiment has come to an end. I will see to it that you are compensated by the robotics division for your trouble. Technically, they did nothing wrong. That's it? That's all you got? Granite said, looking at the report on his desk. Unethical, yes. Are they hiding something? Without question. However, aside from the riot in Vault 32, Bud and his buds did nothing wrong. Surely they misled the population of 2 whole vaults and used them as breeding pools in a massive eugenics experiment, but compared to some Vault Tech records I've gone over, this has to be the most benign experiment I've ever seen, spoke Grayson. Well, what about this whole monopolize the wasteland, pointed out Granite. I've spoken with Mr. Askins. I think he's just not coming to grips with the reality that the Enclave was real. In his mind, the nation was dead, and he and his buds would inherit the earth. Sure, he has no legal merit, but as far as I know, they never attempted this. Pre-crime is not a crime as far as the law is concerned. I don't trust them. Why didn't they tell us from the start? Keep an eye on them. Alright, well that was a lot. The Mojave Enclave. We've managed to establish contact with General Jameson of the Enclave. The few records we have make no mention of a General Jameson, though we do have a Captain Jameson in our records. He was subordinate to a General Rawlinson, who was sent out into the Mojave to secure Nellis Air Force Base and the Hoover Dam just before the rig went down. For obvious reasons, they were never heard from again. If it's possible they survived, then we can use all the help we can get, especially a band of survivors who managed to hold out this long.
This is Enclave main comm.
Alright, power armor integration. Now we need to figure out how to deal with all of this mess. I think that is going to be this tree. Rebuilding a nation. Building the reunited states requires more than plasma guns, so you must restore order to the wastes. Do it. Alright, we've got a lot of integration to do. Look at this. Alright, let's get our people out here. Rooting out resistance. Okay, we'll focus on San Francisco for now. All right, but we are out of time, so we'll go ahead and end the episode here. And we will see about this, because we've got like over 100 military factories and now dockyards to deal with, which we have nothing to build with that. We got to start researching boats. Probably should have maybe looked into seizing the NCR Navy. Oh well. Alright, but for now, we'll stop here. So I hope you guys enjoyed it. Thanks for watching. Go ahead, like, subscribe, and comment, and I will see you next time.